நேசமே உன்னதம் எங்கள் நாடு ஒரு அன்னையின் பிள்ளைகளாகவே மாற்றுவோம் உன் அன்பினை இலங்கை தாயே. We believe in our land. Sri Lanka forever, always strong. Beautiful in every way, in every heart. We love you, Sri Lanka. Niyapi deshayai bhumiyai utumu sundarai samadenai kamavakake adarai amma bai lakmaniye never thought balamu netum kisada kandulata idano taba ekat ekri jatiya gam kulayano taga ek paulak lesin samagiye abhimanayan rakhimu ape amma apage amma Sri Lanka. மீண்டும் நோக்குவோம் கண்கள் தீட்டுவோம் விழியில் நீர் கடைவோம் ஒன்றாய் சேருவோம் சமயம் ஜாதி பேதம் வென்றே எங்கள் குடும்பம் போல் நின்று எங்கள் தாயின் பெயர் கொண்டு மீளமைப்போமே நம் தேசமே ஸ்ரீலங்கா. We believe in our land. Sri Lanka forever, always strong. Beautiful in every way and every heart. We love you, Sri Lanka. Chanda mahasunamin apa kodagak deshayai uriru mahagana yundaen api dinu pinggumiyai elesa ekvi api sialubata kadinuve namagiyen never kaituri pirita payagina venaskararata sitannatana kalagavatu ekamada jayapunyataitam sitamu api sana ekadeyak palamuwaratani Sri Lanka. Let's rally together, united, we won't fail or fall. ஒன்றாய் சேருவோம் சமயம் ஜாதி பேதம் வென்றே. The people are together now, a country first in peace and love. Sitamu api sana ekadeyak palamuwaratani Sri Lanka.
A very warm welcome to all of our guests who are joining us on this very special edition of discussing a very important subject matter that is affecting actually all of us. Even it would go not only to people that are interested in protecting the truth here in Sri Lanka or elsewhere, but rather to all other nations who are facing similar difficulties, particularly with powerful nations that have a certain, let's say, groups within them with particular agenda. So we are willing to dwell into all of that. We'll get into the specifics now. Once again, I thank everyone for being part of this special episode being organized by the Ontario Centre for Policy Research. The subject matter today is going to be on the Tamil Genocide Education Week Act within Canada and the relevant court proceedings that have been taken place with regards to it. We think that there is a lot of gray areas, a lot of places where there are blurred lines that have been created and needs a lot of identification, proper, very surgical analysis of what exactly is happening because of how important it is and how much this kind of let's say this kind of transferring of history, this kind of rewriting effort of history really needs to be addressed. And for that, we have with us two very specific individuals who have been really running this almost alone, actually not with any state support. And we think there is a lot of things to be said there. We have a lot of discussion to be made with regards to it. Firstly, I introduce to you Dr. Neville Hevage. Dr. Hevage is someone who studied here at the University of Colombo here in Sri Lanka, where he studies for his bachelor's, and then master's in University of Alberta in Dundee, United Kingdom. Master of Science from Laurentian University in Canada, Master of Infrastructure Protection and International Security from Norman Paterson School of International Affairs of Carleton University in Canada, and he's a Doctor of Philosophy from Laurentian University of Canada. He's a former adjunct professor at the Laurentian University. He's a research fellow at the International Center for Interdisciplinary Research in Law at the Laurentian University of Canada. And Dr. Neville Hevage is the individual who had filed for the application against the Tamil Genocide Education Week Act. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us today. We'll have a lot to discuss with you. And secondly, Mr. Hasaka Ratmalala is a highly accomplished legal professional with a strong academic foundation and experience in law. He had his bachelor's in sociology, political science, and economics from the University of Sri Jayawardena Colombo here in Sri Lanka, where he developed a deep understanding of social structures and governance. His passion for justice and legal advocacy led him to pursue legal studies at the Sri Lanka Law College. Mr. Hasaka migrated to Canada in 1996, where he built his legal career, and today he practices as a barrister and solicitor in Winnipeg, in Manitoba. He is proud founder and principal lawyer of Ratmalala Law Office. His firm is dedicated to providing expert legal counsel, advocating for clients' rights, and upholding the principles of justice. Mr. Hasaka, it is truly an honor to have this conversation with you.
Thank you.
I think we can begin our conversation. I really want to get the resource providers to really come in and give a breakdown of what exactly is happening. And I believe we can start with Mr. Hasaka Ratmalala. Sorry, I think I've been mispronouncing the name. Mr.
Should be Ratnamalala.
Sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
Right. So if you could give us a brief, if we can venture in very briefly and give us an understanding of what exactly this Tamil Genocide Education Week Act is and how the legal proceeding started, why it started, and the basic background, because there's a lot of individuals who would like to get that context, and then we can move ahead.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me on this. Actually, Tamil Genocide Education Week Act 2021 is enacted at the Ontario legislature. And at the time when the Ontario legislature enacted this, most of Sri Lankans living in Canada were worrying about, were trying to understand what is this and what impact that could happen to Sri Lankan Canadians other than the Tamil Sri Lankan Canadians. So before going into that, we have to understand what is this genocide. Genocide is enacted by Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide, which was approved by and proposed for signature and for ratification by the General Assembly Resolution 260A3, and it was put forward for ratification on 9th December 1948, and it came in force on 12th January 1951. So when we are talking about genocide, this recognition at the UN level has to be identified when you declare a genocide in certain country or against certain government. So what is in the recognition, what requires a recognition is it has to be acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. It has to be it has the main part has to be intent of destroy. So on the point of view of Sri Lankan, if we take the Sri Lankan context, this is not easy to elaborate. And Sri Lanka, it is mainly, there are two parties fight each other, the government of Sri Lanka forces and the Tamil Tigers. Both are armed, two armed groups. They were fighting each other. So genocide, claiming a genocide is not something realistic. But eventually, the parties living away from Sri Lanka, mostly the so-called diaspora, so-called LTTE supporting diaspora, trying to make some move forward of their claims in the Sri Lankan war, civil war. They try to start talking about genocide happening in Sri Lanka. Then they influenced the government of Ontario at the time, a conservative government, and then they enacted the act called Tamil Genocide Educational Week Act 2021 at the Ontario legislature. So supporters of Liberation Tamil Ilam, supporters and those sympathizers of terrorist organization and their operatives, they claim this is a declaration of Tamil genocide. Declaration is not something can be done by a provincial legislature. It has to be done by the United Nations or Hague or International Criminal Court, or there should be a power, because genocide is the ultimate crime. So in order to decide an ultimate crime, it has to be decided one of the major courts in this world, which is International Criminal Court or any other court that has the power to do that. So we were worrying about this and why they claim that it was declared by a provincial government. So then parties gathered, Sri Lankan community gathered, and there are some organizations such as Sri Lanka Canadian Action Coalition and Sri Lanka Canada Association of Brampton and Dr. Neville Hewage himself also were trying to do something about it. And one of the and Sri Lanka Canadian Action Coalition and Sri Lanka Canada Association of Brampton filed one lawsuit, and Dr. Neville Hewage filed another separate lawsuit, considering what is important to Dr. Neville Hewage. So, at the primary level, which is Superior Court of Ontario, Sri Lankan Canadian Action Coalition and Sri Lanka Canada Association of Brampton raised the issues of federal power of peace and good governance, and criminal power, and Section 2B of freedom of expression, Section 15, equality rights of charter and freedoms. They were discussing about that. And main argument was at the Ontario, at the primary court level, was that Ontario has no power to declare Tamil genocide. And among other arguments, Dr. Hevage specifically argued that Tamil Genocide Educational Week Act does not fall under Section 93 of Constitutional Act, which is Section 93 covers the educational power of the province. So Dr. Hevage argued on that, but mainly they argued, all the parties argued peace, order, and good governance, and criminal power of the province, freedom of expression, and equality rights under Charter of Rights. So we were arguing on those. We were trying to indicate that the charter, this particular act, was not breaching these charter rights of Sri Lankan community in Canada, in Ontario especially. So at the court, at the primary level, Dr. Neville Hevage received the public interest standing, and Ontario Attorney General never challenged his standing, so he received the power to fight the case at the Ontario Superior Court of Justice, and at the primary court, they dismissed all our arguments and upheld the legislation as constitutional under provincial power of local and private nature. So what happened is, in Canada, if you enact a legislation, doesn't matter it is a provincial legislature or the federal parliament, that legislature, it has to be accordance with the Constitution of Canada, and even after enactment, the people can go back to court and ask the validity of that particular act, that enactment. So that way, sometimes the court has taken measures to totally scrap the certain acts, and sometimes certain paragraphs of the act, sometimes certain laws. So that's what we were expecting. The Sri Lankan committee was expecting at the time, and Ontario Superior Court of Justice dismissed all our argument. And then parties went to Court of Appeal of Ontario. So both courts did not, the one important thing is both courts did not determine whether an alleged Tamil genocide took place in Sri Lanka. They did not determine. That was one main matter that we asked for at the court, from the court. So they don't have the power to decide, and they don't have evidence to decide. And there was no previous declaration by any other a government or a person, the organization or institution with power to declare genocide against Sri Lanka. There was nothing. So they did not go into that. So both courts further confirms that TGEWA, which is Tamil Genocide Educational Week Act, is not a declaration of Tamil genocide. That is one of the major decision. In this decision, Court of Appeal, in its paragraph 75, states the dominant purpose of the Tamil Genocide Education Week Act is not to declare or recognize Tamil genocide. So it is clearly said in its paragraph 75. So not to declare Tamil genocide, because if the government declare a genocide through this legislation, then that was our argument, that we claim that it was declared, and if it is declared, then the government of Ontario doesn't have that power to do the declaration because it is not their mandate. So parties receive a clear answer from this court that this is not a declaration, so they can keep the act going on with some other power Ontario, the government of Ontario has. So court also mentioned that there is no other evidence that there was a declaration of Tamil genocide anywhere in the world. Then Dr. Hevage and Brampton Sri Lanka Association went to Supreme Court of Canada. First, they had to get to leave for a hearing at the Supreme Court. in order to succeed the hearing, the public important test must be satisfied. Otherwise, the applicant must establish a legal error in the appellate court decision. So in this case, Supreme Court agreed with the appellate court decision. So therefore, they dismiss leave to appeal. So appellate court decision come into stand. So as a policy, the Supreme Court does not issue any reasons for its leave to appeal decision. So because it's not a hearing, just to compare the facts and requirements and previous judgments and the law, they will decide whether it should have enough power to go into a proper hearing. So normally they do not issue a decision, just the dismiss or not. That's what it says. So also, if you go back to appeal court decision, so once we went to Supreme Court, but Supreme Court declined to give for leave for hearing, and then we had to go back to, we had to read the appeal court decision properly. So what we can take out of this? So based on Ontario appeal court decision, Ontario did not recognize alleged Tamil genocide. That's one thing. The other thing is Ontario Tamils can commemorate Tamil, Ontarians, like community experience with the Sri Lankan war. If they have some kind of experience, they could commemorate that. They might have some death, say they might have some victories, they could commemorate that. And also Ontario Superior Court, Appeal Court recognized by honoring the lost or loved ones and acknowledging its view of the civil war to give it a sense of hope. So when you do an honoring, it's kind of they could relieve themselves. So that for that purpose, this act is doing its job. So, and also it provides healing and reconciliation process. The court said that by doing that, it will provide some kind of healing and reconciliation. And these are some of the major takeouts from the appeal court decision. And the most important thing, according to my understanding, Ontario Appeal Court decision on the purpose of the act. The court clearly said the purpose of the act is not educative. This is very important. If court declare purpose of the act is education, then Ontario government would be able to insert so-called Tamil genocide education into school curriculum. So education is a provincial power, and using that provincial power, they could declare different legislations, and that could be one of them could be an educative legislation. So court clearly said that this particular act is not educative. That means they did not use their education power to enact this act. So in order to enter subject into a school curriculum, the subject comes under formal education. Since there's no declaration of genocide, the subject Tamil genocide does not come under formal education. So that was purely Dr. Hewage's argument, and my understanding is he won that argument, and based on that, we managed to save that Ontario government cannot put Tamil genocide into school books. They could recognize, they could celebrate, they could, carry flags, they could carry placards, they could protest. That is, that could be done. Any kind of activism could be done, but not educating them in the formal way.
Thank you, Mr. Hasaka. I think a lot of it sheds light on the key factors of what we are discussing today. Dr. Hevage, you have been involved in this from the very beginning. And I've also had the very good fortune of having a conversation with you in between the struggles that you have to go through. So, Dr. Hepike, I want to actually feel free to bring in whatever we have like sort of missed out in the conversation. At the same time, what are your thoughts on the court ruling? Are you satisfied with the outcome? This has been a long journey and in multiple sort of tiers. Give us your thoughts, Doctor.
Thank you very much inviting me for this program. But actually, I am very satisfied for the outcome of the ruling. First reason is that first we asked the court that as Hasaka explained, did Ontario declare Tamil genocide by enacting Tamil Genocide Education Week Act? Court was very clear. The court is not declared or not recognized Tamil genocide by enacting Tamil Genocide Education Week Act. It is very clear. It is on the, as Hasaka said, appeal court decision, paragraph 75, it is very clear. But in the superior court, at the lower level, it is not very clear, and judge says, Justice Akbar Ali said, and she said, it is the recognition, maybe sake of recognition. Then I had to go to the appeal court. What is the meaning of the sake of recognition? Then I went to the appeal court. If it is the, I need a clear answer, either yes or no. Please tell the court for me, and according to the law, did Ontario recognize declare the Tamil genocide by enacting this TGEWA? And court was very clear, and he said it is not. So therefore, it means that there is so it's a clear victory, and Tamil LTTE diaspora and continuously advocating, and this act is a declaration or maybe recognition of the Tamil genocide, but it is not. And then we need to find out why they are doing this campaign. So because LTT operatives are very active into for the human smuggling, and they want to say, and Sri Lanka is committed genocide, or genocide is happening against the Tamil, and at the same time they are planning to bring thousands of Tamil illegal migrants or asylum seekers to Canada. So that is the main reason. There are some rights groups and there are some national councils involved for this operation. They claim, and they are claiming, and they are charging $35,000 to $65,000 from each asylum seeker. So that is one of the major bust has happened, and it is not going to be, and their entire global human smuggling network now is collapsed. And Ontario is not recognized the Tamil genocide, and there is no Ontario declare that alleged Tamil genocide took place in Sri Lanka. So this is the bottom line. So then second important question I need to mention here, the education fact. Because that act, the perpetrators of the act and the proposers of this act, the name of the act is Tamil Genocide Education. But ordinary person is thinking, oh, this act is about the genocide and the education. So that is the major confusion. So now then court clearly said at the point, and it is not under the section 93 of the education provincial power of the education. But court has been very careful on this matter. But even though court says it is not under section 93 provincial power, act was not invalidated by the court. Act says, the court says, appeal court says, and this act is valid under local and private nature matter, because Tamil has rights and Ontario Tamil has an opportunity giving this act them to healing and reconciliation and share the experience of their what happened with the civil war or maybe in the armed conflict. Actually, and they can commemorate their losses. Actually, I have no problem on that. If anyone has lost their life, and if they want to commemorate, and if they want to have a to healing and reconciliation about this matter, I have no problem, and I support continuously for that kind of effort. But the issue was that they are claiming Sri Lanka committed genocide. That is the claim we are fight against that one. That is the reason we won the case at the Ontario Ontario courts, and Ontario appeal court clearly said that there is no declaration of the Tamil genocide by the Ontario. So that's meaning Ontario not recognize alleged Tamil genocide took place in Sri Lanka. So now I back to the education. Then when you come to the education, that the formal education has to be completed. That formal education means, but issue, there's a two issue came on. Act, that TGEWA Act, it says that awareness of that purpose of the awareness, that's what they want to do for this, pass this act. But awareness is not the education. Public awareness is not education. Education is as academic, I know the purpose of the education is that improvement of the advancement of the knowledge. This act is completely bogus, and A to Z is everything is mentioned that act is not true. So if it is not true, there is no advancements of the knowledge. And is all the false information, death total is a totally false numbers. And I'm not going to argue with each and every element because of I don't have time. And it is clearly mentioned on my affidavit, and my factums is very clear, and how I can prove these facts are not accurate facts. So these factors, they brought it to the act. And not only that, other important fact I'd like to mention here, and they use International Convention of the Genocide definition on this act too. So that is also completely wrong and misguided and misrepresentation of the incident. So therefore, I argue very clearly there is no advancement of the knowledge by enacting this act based on the education. Court agreed. Court clearly agreed that. And then advancement of the knowledge, and it has to be based on to develop the second element of the education is to develop the skills. There is nothing to develop the skill. All the bogus lies and put into the act and went to the parliament because of they have a political power, and they got past this act by the Ontario legislature. It doesn't mean that it is education. And it is a disrepute to all the educators in this Canada and across the world. And it is the clear victory for all the academics in all the universities and the school boards and all the educators in this area. Then third point is that I would like to mention here Supreme Court decision, as Asaka mentioned that Supreme Court decision, people has a general idea something is dismissed is we lost the game, but it is not a dismissal mean it is not a loss. That basically what happened, Supreme Court will say you don't have a case, we should ask and we should hear the case at the Supreme Court because Appeal Court of Ontario decision is correct. Therefore, we do not have to interfere and we do not have to recall all the evidence to answer that your question. So what are the questions I asked basically at the courts? Then I brought another argument, and Section 15(1) charter right, equality rights, Section 2B(1) freedom of information, and some other argument. But however, my main argument was Sri Lanka is not committed the Tamil genocide. So that is the number one. Then as such, and I deployed that argument with the support of the Hasaka was my lawyer at the first primary level Superior Court of Justice, and we clearly deploy our argument Sri Lanka not committed genocide against the Tamil. And by the same time, we asked the court and find out, did Ontario declare Tamil genocide by enacting this law? Court said no. It is very clear at the appeal court, paragraph 75 is clearly said it is not. And so it's meaning that there is no Tamil genocide not recognized by the Ontario legislature that alleged genocide took place in Sri Lanka. In addition to that, for the Section 93 education argument, then we are very successful on that argument. This act has no any education value. So in generally, now Tamil Genocide Education Week Act, there is no genocide, there is no education. It is a very plain language. It is a Tamil Week Act. It is a Tamil Week Act. So actually what happened, Charter Rights and Freedom, Canadian is a very powerful legislation, and it will allow anybody to commemorate their losses. Anybody to have a right to protest. Anybody had to have their own opinion. That the Sri Lanka incidents and maybe civil war, somebody can have it is a genocide. So it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to them. It allowed them to have their own opinion. So then, but it is not the law to put them into the Ontario legislature to pass to against, and Sri Lanka committed the genocide. So that argument is thrown out. So that fact is thrown out. So in that case, we have claimed substantial victory. And first thing is that Ontario legislature not recognized that alleged Tamil genocide took place in Sri Lanka. And there is no declaration by Ontario legislature. So that is a clear victory. And second victory is that it is not education. They can have a healing. They can do these activities by reconciliation. They can commemorate their losses. It is a local and private nature. Then I would like to mention that here, and this act, the TGEWA Act, is a valid legislation under Section 9216, local and private nature. So therefore, Act will stand. But still, there is no genocide declaration against Sri Lanka, and there it cannot be used as education. So that is the bottom line. So that's what we achieved. Very successful argument, deploying this argument throughout the court system.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. On actually, the explanation is quite clear, and both Mr. Hasaka Ratmalala and you really sort of brought out exactly what needs to be discussed here. Given that we sort of scheduled ourselves to talk about this in a compact manner so that we can really deliver this message to the masses, is there anything else that would need to be added in this conversation? Mr. Hasaka Ratmalala, if you could just come in. I think we've gone over the time that we've sort of allocated for this, but just to on a conclusive note.
Yeah, basically what we can take is this act is unnecessary because the powers identified by the court, which this act has, already contains with the Constitution of Canada under Charter Rights and Freedom. So under Charter Rights and Freedom, they can, do all these things. You don't need to. So you don't need to have a separate act. My understanding is this political, because of the political influence, they got this act enacted in the Parliament, Provincial Parliament, and it is there for nothing. So for us, we have the same right to protest against this particular claim of Tamil genocide. The Sinhalese community can protest against the claim of Tamil genocide because the court never declared a genocide. and there was no other courts or any authority has declared genocide against Sri Lanka anywhere in the world.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Asaka. Dr. Hevage, is there something that you'd like to add towards the end of the conversation, a message that you'd like to leave with the audience?
Yes, that's right. Then I would. So this is a very long journey, and I started from at the beginning, and so we had I had a lot of support and especially financial backing to continue this legal challenge. So in addition to that, I would like to mention that Sri Lankan Canadian Action Coalition and Sri Lanka as a Canadian Association of Brampton, and both two groups also put the tremendous effort on this matter. Then I would like to acknowledge their effort. But anyhow, I was able to advance my argument very clearly to the courts. Then I was able to get the results what I have expected. So because I have a very good lawyer, my lawyer is Hasaka, and thank you very much, Hasaka, for your effort and for the guidance and put the correct argument, correct submission, and because constitution law is very complex, and we had to precise and very specific argument we had to put in place, and we had to ask the court specific question. So what are the question I asked? And did Ontario declare Tamil genocide by enacting this TGEWA? And court say no. And in addition to that, I asked, does Ontario has power to enact this legislation under Section 93 of the Constitution Act, Education? And court say no. So in that case, I am very happy with that for the outcome. And finally, I want to tell, and this matter and this case, we went to against to find out the real truth, not against for the Tamils. And we will support for your reconciliation effort, and we will support for your healing effort, and we will support and we will commemorate and support your commemorative effort.
That is something I also add something that it is very important that we have to mention that because Sri Lanka has evolved so far from at the end of the war and to today's date. They have altogether they have brought elected a government which is called Sinhala majority government, but all Tamils from northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka voted in support of this current government. And while Sri Lankans are evolving, they are reconciled with this matter, but still we had to face this kind of situation in the diaspora because of this antics of LTTE.
Right. I think that's a very important argument there as well, Mr. Asaka. I would also like to thank on behalf of, I think, all Sri Lankans who may or may not be aware of the efforts that you are undertaking. Dr. Neville Hevage has been in this for such a long time. Mr. Hasaka Ratmalala also has been joining in, and at this crucial juncture, the effort and the service that you all have done for the country, I think, is beyond important. It goes away from like how we can describe it with words as well. So I would thank both of you individuals and the team behind all of this who has come together, and now I think a great positioning that we have really taken ourselves in this effort to rewrite history, that certain factors in Canada and elsewhere have taken place, but particularly in favor of this terror organization known as the LTTE. Thanking both of you and thanking the community. I'd like to thank all of the audience members who have joined with us. I think there's a very important factor there to disseminate this information to as far as possible. And I hope mainstream sort of media organizations also picks up on this, both in Canada and here in Sri Lanka. We will keep pushing to see that happens, to see that right communication happens. And therefore that element, I think the audience becomes far important. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of discussing the Tamil Genocide Education Week Act of 2021, which has been contested in court, and now we heard the results of what really happened. This particular episode organized by the Ontario Centre for Policy Research. Thank you for joining us. Please let us know how we can improve, what sort of information that is required, and our resource providers like Dr. Hevage and Mr. Ratmalala will actually join in and will give us that breakdown when required. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sri Lanka forever, always strong, beautiful in every way, in every heart. We love you, Sri Lanka. Mia Deshayai.
Kandulata idano taba ekate ekri jati agam kulayano taga ekweka paulak lesin samagi abhimanayan rakimu ape amma apage amma Sri Lanka.
ஒன்றாய் சேருவோம் சமயம் ஜாதி பேதம் வென்றே எங்கள் குடும்பம் போல் நின்று எங்கள் தாயின் பெயர் கொண்டு மீளமைப்போமே நம் தேசமே ஸ்ரீ லங்கா.
Sri Lanka forever, always strong,
beautiful in every way and every heart.
we love you, Sri Lanka. Chanda Maha වැදගත් දේශයයි උරිරු මහගම යුද්ධයෙන් අපි දිනු පින් භූමියයි එලෙස එක් වී අපි සියලු බාධක දිනුවේ නමගියෙන්
නැවත එක් වී පිරිට පයගෙන වෙනස් කර රට සිතන්නට නෑ කල්දවත් එකම දජයක් යටතම්
සිතමු අපි සැම එක දෙයක් පළමුව රටයි ශ්‍රී ලංකා
Let's rally together, united, we won't fail or fall.
ஒன்றாய் சேருவோம் சமயம்